Dave, just how many of your guys are playing summer ball as opposed to staying home and lifting weights?
Yeah, we've got it's a good mix. We've got really probably less guys playing summer ball this year than we have in the past due to such a long season. Example, a couple of guys played with Team USA. Their season's over, so they're done. They could have gone on to the Cape, which was, Matt Cronin and Fletch. Fletcher could have gone on to the Cape, but we felt like it'd be best for them just to go home and rest. And instead of going out there, we just think the chance of getting hurt may be greater than them really improving their game. They played a lot of baseball at the highest level, besides professional baseball. So, we've got 4 or 5 pitchers that are out, younger guys. Zebulon Vermillion's out and having a really good summer. A couple kids are also in the California League. Jordan McFarland's out there, and he actually made the All-Star team. He knows that he needs to make a jump to get in that lineup, or he needs to play. He's getting ready to be a junior. It's time for him to play. So, off the top of my head, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to say there's about 8 or 9 of them out there right now.
Like Kenley and some of those guys.
Kenley stayed here, is just lifting and working out, going to school, those type of things. Played summer ball last year. He really got better just even in his little playing time that he had this past season. We saw a lot of development there because he's probably the hardest worker as far as pregame and practice that we have on the team. So we feel like he'll be ready. I think the at-bats are the only thing that had me concerned on him is he needs more at-bats. So he'll play every day this fall, and we'll try to get him 70, 80 at-bats.
Dave, you mentioned when you spoke in Harrison to the crowd, you mentioned a grad transfer, sound like a hitter. Can you?
Yeah, we signed him. His name's Trevor Ezel, coming in from Southeast Missouri State. Was there 4 years, got his degree, work on his master's. He's from Bryan, Arkansas, and he was their top hitter for every year he played, pretty much, and had a year where he he got hurt, so he got a red shirt there, and so he's got another year left. He's coming off of he had to have surgery on his throwing shoulder because it kept popping in and out, so he had to get it tightened up. So he won't throw this fall. Probably might not even get to hit until late fall. But we'll do all we can with him. He's very experienced. That's not an issue there. So hopefully get him rolling where he can help us early. If he's not ready to throw yet when the season starts full go, then he can DH for us. Switch hitter. Very polished hitter.
What's his position?
Second base.
Coach, what was the conversation like with Keaton McKinney when he told you he kind of decided to retire?
Just, I tried to be real positive with him. The situation is that, he's had to have surgery again on his elbow, and I think that, he's been here 5 years, and, he's had hip surgery, shoulder surgery, or elbow surgery a couple of times, and had his degree. Kind of, I think him being away from the team pretty much the whole season, and then the long run we had, and he's back home watching. He just felt like he'd pretty much done what he could do, and the chances of getting hurt again are there. Plus, the situation with the arm, he wouldn't probably be ready for the 19 season. So then it gets a little difficult. So he just figured that he would go out and continue to do what he's doing, which is working, and kind of move on with his life.
Isaiah Campbell, kind of what's he doing this summer, and what's his next step to be kind of a 7-inning pitcher instead of a 4-5?
Yeah. Well, that step needs to be taken this fall, and that's was his emphasis was to rest up a little bit this summer. He's here, taking a class or two, and working with our strength and conditioning coach, and just getting ready for fall ball where he can go out and refine some things and be more consistent, because the stuff's there. We've all seen it. When he's on, he's as good as anybody we had. And, hopefully he'll take that step forward now that he's you know, a year and a half out from the injury. He got a lot of experience this year. It's almost like to us, this is his true junior year. This is the year that he should really elevate his game.
I know it's way out there, but how would you project the possible guys in your rotation, starting rotation?
Yeah, the rotation is probably the biggest unknown for us for the 19 season. You know, Kevin Kopps jumps out at me. He's still here, working hard. Had Tommy John last year, like September 30th, somewhere in there. He should be able to pitch some this fall for us. He's in incredible shape. You know, he was a guy that we were planning on being a big part of our team in 18, and then to have that injury in last fall, you know, it was tough on all of us, especially Kevin. But I think he's a guy that has a chance to get in the rotation. Obviously, you know, I feel like Isaiah is going to be in the rotation, and there'll be a couple other guys jump in there. I mean, who's to say? There's a freshman or two that have really good stuff. It's just a matter of mentally they can handle it at this level. So a lot of times the pitching thing is it's kind of between your ears if you've got the talent, and we'll find out who can handle it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ifs there. I think Cole Ramage could be a guy. Stuff's really good. He throws 3 pitches for a strike. You know, they'll just let him come in and prove it to us.
Who are the freshmen you're talking about?
I don't know. You know me. I don't like to say a whole lot about freshmen, so I'm not going to say any freshmen. We've got 4 or 5 pitchers that are on campus right now in summer school. Not because they needed it, just because they're trying to get ahead and get acclimated. They work with our strength and conditioning coach as well, and you know, a position player too. So hopefully that'll help some of those guys. We've got some other freshmen that are out playing summer ball, finishing up, and we'll get here in the next probably 3 weeks. So you know, we'll just let that evolve, and we can probably talk about that again.
So Cronin, he doesn't want to start, does he? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think he does want to start, you know, but he needs another pitch. He needs change up. So valuable, you know, so valuable at the end of the game. That's what he did with Team USA. Had a pretty good summer. I think he had 4 or 5 outings, 3 or 4 outings, I'm not sure. They only played 17, somewhere around there, 17, 18 games. So he could start. It's just he's so valuable the second half of the game. But if that's what we need to do, that's what we'll do. His stuff is, when he's fresh, it's as good as anybody in the country. Sure is. Going to go to JUCO. I don't know. He might go to somewhere else. We have a lot of guys that are leaving the program.
You mentioned Cole Turney. Is that the done deal?
Yeah, he's going to go to junior college. Needs to get some at-bats. Only got like 10 at-bats last year. Really struggled. You know, missed most of his senior year with injury, shoulder, you know, ankle issue. Really struggling this summer. If you look at his numbers, it's been a fight for him. I think, you know, just talking with Cole, it's like he told me he needs to get some confidence, and hopefully he can go somewhere where he can get in the lineup and play every day. I think that's going to be big for him.
Was that his idea, or
probably more ours? Bryce wants to start. We see him as a reliever. You know, just up and down. I mean, there's a lot to it, I guess, and it's what he needs, in my opinion. You know, and I don't know where he's going to end up. He needs to go to a junior college where they can put him on the mound and he can pitch. It's kind of up and down, strike zone, a lot of things jumping around on him there, and just to be able to prove that he's ready to help your team win. You know, he's a guy that, you know, he's got a lot of he has a lot of talent, you know, with arm strength. I just got to be able to take that into the game consistently. So hopefully he picks the right place, and I hope he has a lot of success.
Who are some of the other guys that are leaving? You said
I don't know. You name him, and if you guess one, I'll tell you. I'm not going to go through a list.
Weston Rogers, is he?
Weston Rogers just got married 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and has his degree, and his injury is forcing him to retire. Let's just say he's going to. Yeah, that's Weston's call.
What about Bolden and Kostichuk?
They're out playing summer ball. Bolden's in the Cape Cod League, and I can't think of where Kostichuk is off the top of my head. I mean, Kostichuk should be a junior. He's a guy with a good arm. He's got to learn that. He's got to pitch. He's got to throw strikes, and this is going to be a big fall for him. He needs to make a jump.
You made any headway on the volunteer system?
Yes, got a volunteer. bringing in Taylor Smart. Right now he's coaching the Santa Barbara Foresters in California. He's 26, 27 years old. Played for Dave Serrano at Tennessee. He also played junior college ball on the West Coast. He's from, I think, the Seattle area. And, just there was a lot of interest in the job. So, I mean, I could go, I'm not going to go into total detail on it, but Division I baseball is, I think next year at this time we might get the opportunity to hire a full-time coach. And have 3 paid assistant coaches, and the volunteer coach will go away. So it was real touchy there. There's a lot of, when I say a lot, there was a few that employed coaches that would have taken this job as a volunteer for a year if I guaranteed them the job next year, and I didn't want to back myself into that corner. Taylor's a guy, like I said, young, up-and-coming guy that, that wasn't a major obstacle for him. He wanted to work in the SEC again. Last year he helped out at Arizona. He wasn't their volunteer, but he was in with the team and helped run their camps and do whatever he could per the law of the rules, I guess. So I'm just looking forward to getting him on board, and he'll be here probably mid-August. The Santa Barbara team's running away with the league. They're just whipping everybody, so I imagine they're going to be in the playoffs for a while.
Are Opitz and Plunkett playing summer ball?
Opitz is playing. He started out in Alaska, and they had 2 other catchers. When he got there, they kind of were in a little bit of a rhythm. We wanted him playing a lot, and so we moved him to the Jayhawk League, and he's over in Kansas playing now. So we'll see how how that ends up. Plunkett is staying here, just getting ready for fall ball, and he's a guy that he could have signed. We wanted him to come back, and those 2 will battle it out for the most part.
We're about a month removed from Omaha. How much reflecting have you done just on that run and how everything?
Well, really, I haven't. I mean, I've thought about it here and there. Obviously, it's been so busy with recruiting and trying to get the roster squared away, and the main thing, my focus this summer is making sure that we have the right people in here that fit in with our program and fit in the locker room and those type of things, because I just know how important it is. Talent's great. You got to have talent to win, but you got to have guys that get along and really want to be here, and really the team's their number one interest, and that's been huge for us this summer. But just sitting back and thinking about the season, just really more than anything, kind of miss the team. I mean, what can you say? What a great bunch of guys that show up. I mean, those guys from fall on last year, they were on a mission. They were on a mission to get to the World Series, and I don't think anything besides getting to Omaha was going to be enough. And then, the way they fought through the regular portion of that, just the teams we had to fight through, with Texas Tech, and Florida, kind of like a who's who in college baseball, really. And then playing Oregon State and giving it everything they had. Didn't play real well as far as offensively. I thought we pitched great. But, I've thought about those things and, a play here or there, a pitch here or there. But really, just the last series, it was probably a lot of situations where we just didn't drive in runs. We didn't hit a whole lot, but we had a couple opportunities to chip another run here or there in, and we didn't do it. And, it ended the way it did. But just what a great bunch of guys. So proud of them. So proud of the coaches, the players. I mean, even our whole staff, from the managers. And I told them that after the season ended in the locker room, that just we didn't have to tell them what to do. Starting down with setting up the machines for practice or setting up the field. It was just, we were in a rhythm, and it rolled pretty good. And just so proud of the fans, too. The fans were incredible. I've been to Omaha when LSU's been there, and I used to think, wow, look at this. This is crazy. Our fans, we were better. And I mean, I never thought I could say that. And, it would have been interesting if LSU would have been there, how that would have turned out. That would have been a battle to get in those stadiums. And but our fans were incredible. They showed up all year at Baum Stadium, on the road, and then obviously in Omaha, and they made everybody proud. And I bet I've gotten 300 texts from people all over the country. I've gotten emails. I've gotten 30 handwritten letters which is kind of unusual today. And they've been anywhere from California, Omaha, Florida. I've even had a couple people from Oregon tell me that they're Razorback fans now. So it's it's a little bit of reflecting, but I really think that I'll think about it a little bit later. Just got to get through the summer, got to get the right players here so we have a chance to get back.
How big do you think Nate Thompson was for this team in his first year?
I think he did a great job. What Nate inherited was exactly what I told him when I called him last year. If you take this job, you're going to get a really good bunch of hitters. And I think when he walked in the door here, he kind of realized that. And then when all of a sudden the players show up and you're dealing with older kids that are kind of set in their ways a little bit, or they've been coached one way, there was a little bit of friction there at first as far as the older guys, buying into some of the things that he wanted to do. And I told him that would happen. I've been seeing it. I've been around too long, I guess. And the younger guys, they're fine. They love it all. They're like a big sponge. And then they slowly warmed up to Nate, honestly. And it probably took a few weeks into the spring for some of the older guys. And you think about it, some of the older guys didn't get off to very good starts. And then they start asking for a little bit more help. But, he thinks out of the box a little bit. And, there's still a lot of things we need to work on. I love the power aspect. I love the chance, for us to elevate the ball on certain days when the wind's blowing out or just normal days. We've got to, and we've talked about it, we've got to do a better job of taking a walk, and we've got to do a better job of two-strike hitting, and that'll be something that will be emphasized and has already been talked about with the group that left here that's coming back. But we'll put that in this fall and try to do a better job in that part of hitting. But overall, I think he did a great job for the first year coming in to a team with a lot of expectations and a lot of veteran hitters that have been coached, some of them by 3 different people now.
What's Hunter Wilson's summer?
He's not playing summer ball. He's probably back down on the farm down there in Spiro with a cowboy hat on and some spurs, working and baling hay. I don't know what he's doing down there, but Hunter's a great kid, great teammate. Going to have a lot of competition again for him this year, and he seems to show up and fight it every year. So, he's just working.
Casey Murray, he obviously had a good year at third. I know he's versatile.
Yeah.
Could you see him going to second, or is he a fixture at third, or kind of what's the deal there?
Well, we already know he can play third. He played shortstop in high school. We're going to give him an opportunity to play short this fall and some second. I think, unless he proves that he can do it, I'm talking about down the road professional baseball, because obviously he's going to have that ahead of him in 2 years. I see him as a middle infielder and second baseman at the next level. But I think at this level, if he can show that he can be consistent, I think he would be a great shortstop, as will Kinley. So I'm going to let those 2 guys battle it out. We've got Jacob Nesbitt, who we redshirted last year, is coming back, and a couple other high school kids coming in that played shortstop in their high school and summer ball, but one of them will probably move more to be a third baseman, and the other one's more of a second baseman. So that's what we'll do with Casey, is let him have that opportunity all fall to play in the middle.
The transfer from SEMO, could he be in the mix at second, or is he more of a?
No, he would be. If his arm's not, if he can throw, he'll be more than in the mix. And so we're we may not be done recruiting either. We still have time. So maybe something else is going to happen. We'll see how that goes. We'll know in a while.
How'd you feel like your recruiting class came through the draft? I mean, you obviously lost, a couple good players.
We lost 2, and we knew we were going to lose Josh Bro. He wanted $1 million. We knew halfway through the season that he was going to get $1 million, and he ended up getting like $1.5 million. So we figured that he wouldn't be here, and then we lost a pitcher, Beasley, out of South Arkansas, and he's a guy that big kid, really good arm. We kind of figured that he would sign. Was a guy that if he'd have come in here, we think that it would have been a year or 2 out. Not a lot of command there yet, but a lot of upside. And sometimes there's guys that if you really take a step back, that maybe need to be in the minor leagues. And he felt like that might be the best step for him, and we're happy for him. But as far as the class coming through, we feel good about it. We've had a couple of guys in our class that we signed in the fall, more than a couple, that are going to go to junior college because there's too many people in front of them. Maybe there was grade issue or have to wait all summer to get right. And, you just don't want to bring in too many kids or even one that you don't know if they're going to make it academically. I don't want to have that issue here. And, then a couple on the other side that, we've just talked with them and felt like with what we have coming back and maybe transferring in, it might be best to go to JUCO for a year or two. So we've tried to cut down some of the numbers. Then on the other side, we got a few walk-on pitchers and a couple of walk-on players that, that they'll be out there this fall, but maybe realistically they're looking at a red shirt, and they've been told that in advance.
Is Connor Nolan the only dual sport guy that you got?
Yeah, and that'll be. We'll just see how that goes. Obviously, we feel like Connor, if he was just playing baseball, he'd be one of our top recruits and right in the middle of it. I think we'll see how it progresses for him with the football team and what his role is there. Is he redshirted? Is he the starter or somewhere in between? And hopefully we can get him down there. Then you're talking spring football. You're talking a pitcher who throws the football. There's a lot of stress on an arm. We'll see how it goes this first year.
So his status is just pretty much up in the air for you next year?
Yeah, well, I've got him on our roster, I've got him listed on our roster, and we have plans for him. But I don't know. He's on a football scholarship. If he wasn't on a football scholarship, he'd be on a baseball scholarship. I would have given him a baseball scholarship. So we'll just see how that all plays out.
Do you think Jared Gates was done playing before he signed with Baltimore?
We were trying to help him out. We had a couple of teams that, that either had released some people or had injuries, and they were looking for an older guy to go help their team. And, obviously the Orioles signed him. We were hoping that we could, do the same for Luke. Luke's got a couple things in the fire right now, Bonfield, but hasn't happened yet. But Gates, if you just took the second half of the season, he had a really good year, and his defense was really good and got some big hits. And we wouldn't have made it to Omaha without Jared Gates getting hot like he did.
How many days have you taken off since you got back from Omaha?
What do you mean taking off?
Have you taken any days off?
To do what?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can't really take any days off when your phone's ringing and you're trying to get a roster going. I mean, there's been a couple here or there, probably a Sunday here, Sunday there, but a lot of times we're recruiting. I'm going to Kansas City in a couple of days, and then I'm going to Cary for a couple of days to see some of the young 15-year-olds play, like some of the best in the country. It's just a good place to see them all. They're trying out for the 15 and under team, so that'll be a nice event. Not much, but that's just the way the job works right now. There's, a lot of times when teams finish their season, they get a little bit of a break. That's not the way baseball is, because the kids we recruit, they're playing in the summer. Football gets done, usually the high school kids are done, so they recruit different times. It's just basketball plays during basketball season. We play in high school season we play when the high school kids are playing, but then the summer ball is where they all go play on teams together, and you can see 7 or 8 on a team that are Division I quality if you go to the right places, which usually or South Texas or Florida. I've been to, a couple places in Florida. Coach Thompson and Coach Johnson have been back and forth to Atlanta. Nate's on his 3rd trip. Wes has been there 3 times and getting ready to go to Houston. And we were in the office for the first time. We called a quick meeting Sunday afternoon where all 3 of us were in the office at the same time, the first time since the season ended, just to go over recruiting and get on the same page again and who's going to go where the next 3 weeks.
So you've basically been on the go ever since the season ended.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that you and Coach and Hunter Yurachek have had conversations. When you look at what you want from a facility standpoint, where are those conversations at with him?
Oh, those conversations are well on their way. Drawings have been drawn up and redrawn, and some changes. And Hunter's all in. Razorback Foundation will help, raise the money for this. Is all in, and they're working hard. They've met with me a couple of times and our staff, and it would be a great addition, to this ballpark. And like I said, it's 90% for the players, I guess, and you could say our staff, because that's where our offices would end up being, and we'd be right there with them. And there's a lot involved in that building, and just making it look right in our ballpark and wrapping it around that right field area. And there would be some things for fans as well, where they could stand and walk all the way around almost to the scoreboard. And it changes a little bit here and there, but it's really about a new weight room for the baseball players, and a nutrition area, and the locker room, and we'd put our pitching development area over there, and it'd open up some things over here. It would open a lot up underneath too, that fans, maybe, a lot of these stadiums, if you go around now, they have some amenities for, boosters and fans to go under, and maybe even a restaurant type things. There's a lot of things they could do if they moved us around a little bit. So we're excited about it. We've been approved to go ahead and talk about it with recruits, because that's what we're dealing. I mean, all you have to do is get online and look at Mississippi State Stadium, and you just kind of get blown away. How do you they already had a field, and they kept the field and the scoreboard, and they've spent $60 more million. That's amazing, So, it's not like we're just trying to keep up with them. We're just trying to make it so when we get a kid on campus, they feel really good about what's going on here. Then they feel like that the baseball program is important and highly supported. I mean, obviously they come to a game, they know how special it is, and that's what I tell them all. This is a nice stadium, but what makes this stadium special is that it's full of people, and I still believe that. So we're gonna try to get that rolling and go out and talk to people this fall, and whenever they say we can, well, the board has to approve some things, but when they get it right and we get enough, I guess, money up front, we'll break ground.
I think you said in Harrison, it might be till after fall ball you can really reflect on the season. I mean,
well, that's when it slows down a little bit. When you think about it, when school starts, the day before school starts, we'll have a team meeting that night, make sure everybody shows up and have everybody introduce themselves, and we'll go through what's going on for the next 8 weeks. 2 weeks before fall ball starts, we do a lot of skill work and lifting, and then 6 weeks of baseball and lifting, and then the off season, which is the end of October all the way until finals for the most part. We'll go through all that, and so once we get off the field in late October, then it starts to slow down, because we only can work with them so many hours a week. So you get a chance to maybe reflect a little bit there and just get away from here. Last year I got vacation with the family for the first time in a long time, as I reminded all the time by my wife. So, maybe we'll do that again. So.
Was that in October? Or when?
That was actually over Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go? What'd you do?
You're really digging now, man. We went to Hawaii. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah.
Good time to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of strange being away from home over Christmas. First time I'd ever done
You guys
that.
go to Maui or the?
Sure did. You know the better places, I guess. So.
Well, I never.
Hey, they just told me where to go, and I showed up. Karen did all the
I got to
planning
go to
for that.
Hilo one time. That's okay, but it's not Maui. I doubt.
Is Hunter Milligan still?
Yeah, Hunter has, from what it's looking like right now, he's got arm problems. He had surgery, I guess, his senior year. Went ahead and said, come on in, let's see if we can get this worked out. Looked like he was going to be okay, tried to pitch. Arms always bother him, and I think he was told a couple days ago that looks like that he's going to have some surgery. So I think what he's going to do is have surgery and do his rehab back at home, and maybe go to school closer to home and do all his rehab there, and then start throwing again at the end of next year. We'll see how it goes, and then see if we're going to bring him back. I would say that's the game plan right now, but he won't be able to pitch this year. Same problem that he's had. It's a shoulder issue.
You made more progress on exhibition games. I know you mentioned OUs.
Yeah. Well, I really can't. There's a new rule this year that we can play 2 outside competition games, and they don't take off our spring games. The most games you can schedule in the spring is 56. It used to be that if you played a couple of games, then you could play 54 or whatever. This year they've changed the rule finally, and it makes sense because softball's been able to do it forever, and we couldn't figure out why we couldn't. We get to play outside competition. There is rules about how far you can go and missing class, but we're going to try to play a couple games. None of the details are out yet, but the plan would be to probably play one on the road in this region and then one here. I can't really give you anything more than that. Whenever we get some things lined up, obviously our game here, we'll tell you more about it.
You obviously got hit hard in the draft, from your team, but you made it through with your signing spree. How good do you think you guys could be next year?
I think it's really going to depend on a few things. I think number one, we got to get our starting rotation figured out. I think position player wise, with the addition of one junior college player that will be a sophomore that has experience. And then obviously we have 3 pretty good hitters in the middle of our lineup coming back. 2 catchers with a little bit of experience, but they've been around Division I baseball, battling it out. And a young freshman catcher coming in. We'll see how he does. I think that there's a couple of guys in our program that it's time for them to step up. A guy like Kinley or McFarland, and grab a position. We'll see how that turns out. And then there's a couple of very good high school kids that you don't expect them to come in and have a year like Martin or maybe Heston Kerstad, but they can come in and play, and maybe we can platoon somebody out there. You got a transfer too coming in that with experience that are older. If that works out, I think we could have a good club. I think you have to look at the league. Where's the league going to be? And I said this earlier. LSU got all their guys back. They didn't sign. The center fielder draft eligible, he didn't sign. Number 1 pitcher was a sophomore draft eligible, he didn't sign. And then one of the best hitters ever gone through their program, the right fielder, Andrew Duplantis, I think he's got the hit record already. He didn't sign. He's going to be a senior. They're going to get their shortstop back that got hurt last year. So they're going to be awfully good. So we're going to be able to, climb ahead of them. You got Ole Miss. This will be the junior year of all their number 1 recruiting class from 3 years ago. They're pretty excited about their team. A&M got their whole team back. Mississippi State pretty much got most of their kids back. Auburn's got a lot of their guys back. They got a guy named Tanner Burns, maybe the best pitcher in the country over the next 2 years. Turned down a lot of money out of high school. He'll be a sophomore. So, yeah, they lost Casey Mize. So you start looking at the league, I just named 5 teams. The other team's us and Alabama. Alabama's got a young coach that's been getting after it and bringing in a lot better players. So I guess our thing is just to try to get as good as we can get and not worry about everything. And I don't know how to answer that. I think we're going to have a good team. And I think we got a lot of guys that know how to win and that want to win and know what our program's all about. And we need to find a way. And so it all starts with pitching. And if we can pitch innings 1 through 5, we're going to be pretty good, because I feel like we got a lot of guys that can get us through the 6th through the 9th.
Why did Jackson Rutledge decide to leave?
Yeah, just not enough pitching time. Probably wasn't real happy that he didn't make travel squad. Wants to be a starter. There's a lot into that. I probably can't tell you all of it. Because there's always more than we can tell you. Inconsistent, who knows? There's just junior college pitching every day, get the ball. They play 4 or 5 games a week. They play 7-inning games. They need starters. You're going to go to a good program where they turn out a lot of pro guys, give them an option to sign. So I don't know.
What is that like? You get a lot of kids in high school in here because they were starters in their high school, and now you want them to be relievers or closers, and it always seems like, they keep wanting to start. How do you?
Well, usually it works itself out. A lot of times they'll tell you, I'm good with that. Deep down, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, maybe their parents aren't or whatever. So, this is the way I look at it. The Arkansas Razorback baseball team comes number 1 over everything, over me, over players. We have got to do a good job doing what we do, and it's all about how that locker room is. He's a great kid, and he's got a good arm. If he's healthy, he has a chance to pitch for a long time. Didn't get to pitch a whole lot, didn't go real good towards the end, all over the place. And, it's effective. Sometimes you just, how do I want to say it? Sometimes you just got too many guys. Sometimes you guys aren't as good as you were hoping they were. Some guys aren't as patient as they need to be. They want it now, and a lot of times it's not them. It may be somebody else that is involved with them. So we all deal with it at this level of Division I baseball, which is, you know, one of the top 50 programs in the country, and most years probably in top 20. And you're going to have good players, and, you know, they turn down money to come here, and then you got somebody in their ear, and, hey, do what you got to do. We'll be fine.
You had mentioned at one point during the year about Heston Kerstead maybe getting a shot at first. Do you envision him staying in the outfield, or going to give him a shot first in the fall?
Well, you know, I think that we're going to move him over to right field. To me, he's more of a right fielder. You know, he actually throws really well, just the way he moves. Left field's a little bigger here. It's bigger in a lot of parks than right, just the way it is some places. You start looking at all the stadiums, unless they've just got a, you know, what I call a cookie-cutter outfield, which is the same all the way around for the most part. The fields in our league are shorter and right. And he's actually a good outfielder. Yeah, he dropped a couple balls late in the season, but running and getting the ball, running to the ball, he's been good. I think he got worn down a little bit, to be honest with you. You know, he played every game. Probably the only freshman I've ever had in my coaching career that played every game his first year. So that's one reason he's here. He's back. He went home. He was supposed to go play in the Cape Cod League, and we pretty much said, hey, you probably just need to go rest. And I think he was good with that. And he's here lifting. He's back in town lifting and getting ready for fall ball. But I could put him there. If we go through fall ball and we realize, hey, he could go there and this kid could go in the outfield and that makes us a better team, that's a good option. I think it makes him more valuable to the pro people, too, down the road. You know, he's a legitimate average outfielder at their level, and he's a good first baseman. He's a big kid with power. I mean, it's something that could happen. I don't foresee it right now, but, you know, it could happen. But I do see moving him probably to right field.
So who would be in playing left then?
I just said we don't know yet. You tell me, and we'll go.
Some candidates.
Oh, I got a lot of candidates. I got two freshmen. I got one freshman that runs a 6'5", 60 coming in that's playing in a really average league, but he's hitting almost 550. He won't do that here. I got another freshman coming in that runs a 6'5", 60 from the East Coast that's, you know, that already weighs 180, 190 pounds. That's pretty good. The Goodhart kid that we got in out of San Jack, played left field for them. He could also play first base, third base, right field. Good hitter. I mean, I just named three off the top. And
actually, you didn't name the freshman. You just said.
Yeah, I won't name the freshman because they haven't done anything yet.
Coach, last year you mentioned that when you were putting the schedule together, you said, what was I thinking of?
Yeah.
Brutal schedule. How about this upcoming schedule?
Well, last year's schedule, again, I've said it many times, it evolves, you know, over 3 and 4 years out. When you schedule those weekend non-conference series, you got to go out that far. Like I'm already working on 21 and 22. And then the midweek series, you know, you get a few in there, and then maybe somebody gets dropped or calls you or emails you, and you get, hey, we can work this out. This year's schedule, I mean, we're going back to Texas for our return of that trip. It'll be during our spring break in between 2 conference games. Charlotte comes back here for a couple of midweek games in early March. The conference series is what it is, you know, whatever they tell us we're playing, the schools, the 3 or 4 teams from the Eastern Division. Non-conference, I think we have, we play at USC, returning that trip to Southern California. I think we play Stony Brook, who went to the World Series 2012, somewhere in there. Is that right? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know when they went. But, that's just a few that jump up ahead. I think we go to Missouri State. I think we have Memphis in here. I haven't really looked at it lately, so kind of moved on and kind of looking down the road, to be honest with you.
Who are the SEC East teams you're playing? You mentioned Tennessee, right?
Tennessee, at Kentucky, and that's in May, and their new ballpark should be done. That's about a $45 million project. At Vanderbilt, who probably a preseason 1, 2, or 3, they have 8 other starting position players back. Made it to the Super Regional and almost won it. Lost at home to Mississippi State in that heartbreaker. I think it went extra innings maybe. And a lot of big-time pitchers, and they kept a couple of guys. So they, they'll obviously be good. I know those 3. I don't know.
You got Tennessee's.
And Missouri, did I mention Missouri? Missouri, Tennessee,
That's 4.
Kentucky, and and Vandy. So I guess we don't play Florida, Georgia, yeah.
So Mizzou and Tennessee are here.
Tennessee's here, Missouri's here, Kentucky's away, Vandy's away.
All good? Okay. People want to know if Missouri's coming. That's going to be a big.
Yeah, I think that's opening weekend, maybe.
Is that right? Ooh.
It might be, yeah. So, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That Mizzou